Hi everyone, my name is Luke Parker from Bracebridge Engineering, and in this episode I'm going to be talking about why my quote takes so long. So as manufacturers, we take inquiries all the time on a daily basis from various different companies asking to make pressings and other things. Obviously sometimes we can't do them, so we decline them, pass them on. But obviously through that process we're asked to quote, and quite often the customer will give us a lead time. They want the quote back in a week or a month or something like that. But one of the common questions that we get is when we have in process of doing a quote or before that is how long is it going to take to quote, and why is it taking so long if we've already quoted or is it part way through. So I just wanted to talk about that really. There's a lot of sort of confusion, and sort of often you get manufacturers and the suppliers, and you've got customers. We've both got different opinions on how long things should take in terms of quoting. So I actually just had an email this morning for a customer that a new inquiry that came through for quite some complex assemblies that would take quite a lot of time to quote and find material for, and they wanted it back this afternoon. So you know, there's just no way at all that could happen. So, and really what I want to do is try and explain why that couldn't happen. Now I'm not saying nobody could. There's probably some companies with huge teams of people working in the sales and technical department who could smash it out really quickly, but we can't one way or another. I've got a couple of products in front of me that will just try and help to explain the differences maybe in speed of quotation. But the inquiry side of it, I was listening to a YouTube video the other day about the dreaded quotation, request for quotation, and the pitfalls and why people are doing it. It was very interesting. I can link you to that if you want to have a listen as well, by all means. But it is a funny subject, and it's something that I thought we'd discuss. So I've got two parts. One's very simple. It's just a washer, and one's an assembly. And obviously if we had an inquiry for both of these parts, one would be fairly quick and easy to quote, and the other one would be a little bit more complex. So we take this washer for example. Now what, as press workers or any manufacturer for that instance, what we've got to do is obviously work out what materials we need to make it, how long is it going to take to make, various different criteria, tooling and all the rest of it, put that package together and forward it off to the customer. So for this little washer for example, first of all we need to know how much material in each one of these we're going to need to use. So we've got to send off material quotes to material suppliers to find out how much per tonne, how much of it we need for a set amount of components. So that brings up the first potential, I would say, for delay is obviously we've got to use an outside supplier. We don't manufacture mild steel, we don't roll it here, we obviously buy it in. So that's the first port of call. We've got to actually send out an inquiry then to metal manufacturers to get prices. Now if that material's quite fancy or special or a particular hardness, then there's a little bit more time involved with that. And sometimes, you know, it could just be that the customer, the supplier that we're looking at is on holiday or something. So we can't get that back to them quick enough. So what we do obviously then is you get the material. Then we've also got to get tooling. Now that's another outside supplier. Some companies obviously do have their own internal tooling capacity, which gives them a lot quicker turnaround. And we do have tool makers that will give us quick turnaround times on their lead times as well with quotes, but it all takes time. So that being said, when we do get that all together, then obviously we've got to put that together. So if something like this, it's a little stainless steel washer, we go and send off some inquiries for stainless steel, we send off the tooling, get those back fairly quickly, and within probably a week or even less, a few days, we could probably get that turned around and sent to the customer, no problem. So a couple of days on something like that. This little assembly here, now there's three parts to this part. There's a bottom part, there's a middle part, and there's a top. They all require different methods of manufacture. The bottom one's is like a standard pressing. The top is a deep drawn part, or a small deep drawn part, and then we've got a mesh part in the middle. Now, with that particular part, we have to send out to subcontract spot welding as well. So we'd have to get a price on that. We'd have to get a price on the material, price on all the tooling to do all the different ones. So, you know, we could be talking a couple of weeks to get all that together. So I hope that sort of just explains a little bit of how that would go together. Now some projects, there may be 10-15 components, all various different degrees of technicality with extra fittings and fittings. Sometimes these types of projects can take a month or so to quote. But more often than not, you're asked to quote within far too short a lead time. It's most common. I was in Chicago earlier in the year for a company that we were quoting some work at, and they gave us 30 days. Now they had 750 different parts on that catalogue of parts to quote. We didn't quote anywhere near that. We were never going to. But even so, every person I spoke to said, it was manufacturing, said there's no way we're going to be able to do that. So inevitably they extended their quotation lead time. And it's just something to think about if you are sending something through. If you want to price by tomorrow, send it a week earlier. And there won't be a problem. It's quite a funny thing with quotes and quotations. I sometimes look at it a bit crudely, but like a one-night stand. The customer supplier, the two couples that get together, there's loads of energy and exchanging information about the quote and about this one night stand. Then the deed's done, and then you don't hear from him. It goes all quiet. It's a little bit of a crude analogy, but it reminds me of that quite a lot. Something to consider. There's not a lot much to it for that, but obviously if your part needs plating, if your part needs a powder coat, if your part needs any surface finish, all these things we have to send out tenders to and inquiries to get that information back, and it all takes time. Some companies, like I said, can probably produce and turn around quotes very quickly if they're a powder coater, or some industries traditionally have a lot quicker lead times. Our sister company is a thread rolling company. They've pretty much got all the different thread sizes on the shelf, and they can turn around a quote within a few hours. It's that simple. But when we have to get the tooling, we have to look at the design of the tooling. It just takes a little bit more time. So that's a fairly short video for this episode. I hope that was helpful. If you've got any comments or questions about that, feel free to drop us a comment or an email. And thanks for watching, and we'll speak again soon. Bye now.